we reap the value and the benefit of that in these rich relationships that many of us just have lost. We have
Yeah.
absolutely lost it in the United States. And we many ways don't even realize what we have lost because we've never tasted it. And so I'm just going to encourage that, for a grandchild, have them dial up the phone and
Yeah.
spend some time talking with a grandparent. Invite the grandparent in to have dinner at your home, to be at church together, to share life together.
I want to talk about how kids can serve grandparents, because we've talked about how grandparents can serve their kids and their grandkids, and how they can have a really important role in the world of homeschooling. And I think because, our kids are homeschooled, they might have more opportunities to even serve their grandparents. How can kids really be a blessing to their grandparents, and how can we train them up to do that?
Well, just like the Bible gives grandparents a role with children and grandchildren, the Bible also gives children and grandchildren a role with grandparents. And that revolves around the idea of honor and respect and caring for the physical and emotional needs of the aging. Interestingly, in scripture, you don't ever see the idea of a retirement plan,
Yeah.
because that's what we are. Children are a parent's retirement plan scripturally. And in most cultures, you have tri-generational living as a piece of that. That's not the norm in the United States. At least it hasn't been for a few generations, in part because of the affluence of our country. Social Security has essentially, one of the unintended consequences of Social Security was it pushed the generations apart from one another. But as that, I think that'll begin to change as our country becomes less affluent. You'll see that more, and that was just a norm. But as we think about how we serve grandparents, part of that is simply the way we talk about them, listening to them, the way we engage with them. A lot of grandparents feel minimized and marginalized, and that's reflective in the time, communication. They don't get called, they don't get visits, they don't get invited to. And in fact, that's a lament I hear from a lot of grandparents: is I just want to be a part of. I feel like I
Mm.
don't know my children anymore, and there's a lament there. So that honoring and that respecting, I think, is huge from grandchildren. It bestows to somebody that they're important and valued. The other piece is the care element, and as all of us age, that's just a reality. And God has built that into the family. God's design is for the family to care for one another. That's not to be given away to the government, or the church can step in as a supplement, and God puts the church there as a fallback. We get the commands to care for widows and orphans. Essentially, when the family can't do what the family has been designed to do by God, then the church is kind of the fallback. But we see, just like with education, when we give God's designed role to a different institution, education with the government in public school, or the caring of family to any of the other institutions, all kinds of problems happen, and it weakens all the institutions. And so, grandparents have a role with their family members, and we do as well with grandparents. And it's interesting, that at the ends of the age spectrum, young and old, both often feel like they don't have a purpose, and their value is not as significant as it could be. And I think the grandparent-grandchild relationship adds a place of purpose, meaning, and value for both. For grandkids to care for grandparents, to honor them, to be part of their life, to serve them. This could take different roles as far as helping around their house, just being being, helping in whatever kind of care needs are there, and vice versa with a grandparent, to invest in in a child. And it's interesting at often these two ends is the higher end needs of the life spectrum, and God's built in a give and take there that we need to be willing to invest in. And it takes energy, it takes time, it costs us something, and that's okay. But we reap the value and the benefit of that in these rich relationships that many of us just have lost. We have absolutely lost it in the United States. And we many ways don't even realize what we have lost because we've never tasted it. And so I'm just going to encourage that, for a grandchild, have them dial up the phone and spend some time talking with a grandparent. Invite the grandparent in to have dinner at your home, to be at church together, to share life together. It is crazy when we look back on how we used to do life. There was Sunday dinners together as an extended family. I mean, we've given that away to restaurants now.
Yeah.
Essentially, we have outsourced the role of grandparents to others, and we've not left things for grandparents to engage with, and we can do that with our grandchildren as well. So, once we get engaged in doing life together, the how can we serve grandparent question, man, there will be so many opportunities, and part of that is we just need to know our grandparents so that we can get engaged in their life.
Homeschool Insights is sponsored by CTC Math. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com and try it for free. For more great homeschool inspiration and resources, listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.